Good afternoon and welcome to the Indie Boomer Show. Mary Pat McKee here. I publish a magazine called Indie Boomer. I'm very excited to have the latest issue out. That's Patty Spitler. I know it's probably a little dark to see on TV, but Patty Spitler used to be with Channel 8, now has her own Pet Pals TV show, talked about her reinvention of herself and what she's done now that she's in her baby boomer years. And I am sitting here today with Orrin Bell from Cicoa, In-Home and Aging and In-Home. I almost had it straight, didn't I? I apologize. I know. We're going to talk a lot about what that agency does in the communities. Actually, you have the whole Marion County and all the surrounding counties you take care of, right?
That's right. We're Cicoa Aging and In-Home Solutions. We're the area agency on aging for Central Indiana.
Right.
And we're not-for-profit, and our responsibility really is to work with a variety of community resources and agencies and programs and older adults themselves as a planning agency and advocacy group, and to help connect people to services that are helpful to them to help them remain independent and stay in their home, stay in their community as long as possible.
Okay. And so can you elaborate a little bit more on, if you're a caregiver, a lot of baby boomers, as you know, and a lot of folks know, are taking care of their parents.
Right.
And they a lot of times are behind the eight ball when it comes to the point where they have to take care of their parents. What could they expect to get when they contact Cicoa and for those services?
You know, what we really strive to be is we strive to be a good source of information. We're a local nonprofit. We don't represent any particular company or any particular program. We don't make a commission off of the services. So really what we're there for is to be an advocate for the consumer. And we get a lot of calls. You know, someone will call us because, you know, maybe they went on a scary car ride with dad and they're not sure he should still be driving.
Right.
Or maybe they've come home for the holidays and, you know, the house was always tidy, but this year something just looks out of place. And mom sounds okay on the phone when I call her from Missouri, but when I get here, she's not doing as well as I thought.
Right.
We'll get that call sometimes where the son or daughter will call us and say, you know, the doctor just told us that we really need to consider a nursing home for mom, and we promised we would never
put her in a
home.
Right.
And all of those are the kinds of questions that people ask. And those can be very challenging questions. They can be very difficult questions.
Yep.
And what we try to do is to help people find the best fit, the best answer for them.
Okay.
You know, we're all unique. No two people have the same exact set of questions, same exact set of challenges, and there's not a one-size-fits-all
We
for
talk
everything.
about that a lot with the boomer. Everything's different.
And so what you try to do is help people make good decisions for them and their loved one. And very often that is a conversation with, you know, boomers, and I'm in that group too, but very often you're having those conversations not about yourself, but about an elderly parent.
Right.
Or a family friend or someone that you're trying to help navigate this. And it can be very challenging. And we realize how important it is to consider the caregivers in that process, because most of the support that people have when they can stay in a community and stay in their own home really depends on that informal support, not the doctor, not the paid professional, but the loved ones that are interacting with that person and trying to help them stay engaged in the community. And you know, one of the numbers we throw out is that there's $450 billion of uncompensated care that's provided by family caregivers. If you've been to the hospital for a treatment in the last few years and you discharge, somebody at the hospital saying, well, here's how you change the dressing, and here's the exercise you should be doing, and here's the medication you should be taking, because you know, generally people recover better at home, but that also assumes that you've got someone there to kind of be some support for that. And so we are especially aware of the importance of that informal support, that caregiver, and try to help people connect to services and resources that they might need to be an effective caregiver.
Well, and the other thing we talk about again a lot is the fact that those caregivers a lot of times don't take care of themselves.
Right.
And sometimes a caregiver can end up being as sick or worse than the person they're taking care of. So the importance of that, and you probably have programs to help them get through that?
We have a number of ways that we can try to help support that. One, we do help connect people to the resources for their loved one's needs. So, for example, we'll refer people to a respite care program, programs like Still Waters or Joy's House or some of the programs that you may be familiar with. We'll
Sure.
let people know about support groups that are sponsored by organizations like the Alzheimer's Association or Catholic Charities or the Villages, other groups that do part of those kinds of programs. But sometimes the support for the caregiver is not to be the caregiver, but for the caregiver to take care of themselves. And
Right.
so Cicoa has a program that we'll do called Care Aware that we'll take out to employers or church groups. We just recently launched a partnership with the Fishers Fire Department with our Care Aware program
did
and
you
with the
really?
Community Health Network.
Uh-huh.
So there's just to let people know what's available. And a lot of times the biggest challenge for a caregiver is they don't even think of themselves as
They're too
being a
busy thinking for
caregiver
the other
and
person.
the impact it has on them, because
Right.
you're doing that because it's your loved one. Well, of course you're going to take care of them. Of course you're going to look after them. And just acknowledging that it can be stressful, that it can be physically stressful, it can be financially stressful, and you need some time to yourself too, and ways that people can connect with that, whether it's through arranging for respite care or a support group of people that's going through the same thing, or a conversation we can have with employers about, well, here's some policies in the workplace that might make it easier for some of your staff to be able to be productive at work and still fulfill their caregiving responsibilities.
Yeah.
And all of those are good conversations to have, and they're conversations that boomers are having because that's where they are. They're in the sandwich generation that's got elderly parents and maybe young children still at home or kids in college, and there's a lot going on.
Yep. Yes, there is a lot going on. And I think the boomer generation may be the first generation that learns from taking care of their parents what they need to do when they get to be that particular age, because we will know by then the resources and things available.
And that is one of the most valuable things that you can do, is to try to plan ahead.
Yes.
You can't know every contingency. You can't prevent everything from happening. But having the conversation with your parents about what their wishes are,
Yes. We're a big advocate of that.
having the taking that action that says, if the day comes that I can't make this decision for myself, this is the person I designate to be my medical power of attorney. These are my wishes if I'm seriously ill or seriously injured, and a conversation to have with your elderly parent if they're at that stage, but also a question to have with your spouse, with your own children, about here's what I want, here's what I'd like when that day comes, if it's me.
Right.
And there are some wonderful community resources for that, and people can get a lot of really good information around those sort of the personal part, what I want, as well as the conversations about, here are resources in the community that can help you accomplish that.
Right. And that's what Cicoa is.
Right. So we can help direct people. They can visit our website. They can call our Aging and Disability Resource Center, which is a telephone number that people can call, and get information about services and programs and resources in the community that they can access that can be helpful. So if you are at the point of saying, I'd like to know more about long-term care insurance, or I just turned 65 and I'm considering Social Security, I want to talk to somebody about it before I make that decision.
Yeah. And that's a very wise thing to do.
I'm 65 and I just got that big catalog in the mail of all the Medicare options.
What a nightmare.
And how do I pick that? How do I pick one of those?
You really need an expert.
And so there are resources in the community to help people navigate those questions.
Right.
And sometimes it's for you, and sometimes it's for a loved one.
Right.
And the important thing is to ask. And hopefully we can help someone make a good decision for them. Based on your resources, your health, where you are, and say, well, here's some things to consider.
Well, you know what? We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I want to talk more about services that you offer, what folks can do. I mean, you've got so much good information. We'll be right back. Thanks.
There's something happening today that is bringing back excitement. It's a chance to challenge yourself while remembering what comes first. An opportunity to grow your assets from wherever you might end up. It's time for you to be in control again and experience true freedom. So whether you're looking to slow down with your family or run head on with industry leaders, the Paid to Save network is transforming lives today. And it starts with just one handshake that touches the entire world. So go ahead, take a hold of your future. And overcome the obstacle of defeat.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
We're back. Oh my goodness, time flies around here so quickly. Or maybe it's that baby boomer thing where time just goes so fast all the time. Hey, couple things I want to do. I want to thank Wofford Theater, Logan Street Signs and Banners. Oh my goodness, I can't even say it correctly. Anyway, I want to thank them for the show. Appreciate them allowing us to do the Indie Boomer Show on Hamilton County TV. And today we are sitting here with Orrin Bell from Cicoa Aging and In-Home Solutions. Got it right this time?
Yes, we did.
And the first segment, we were talking a lot about services, things that baby boomers may need for their parents, how they can contact you. I know the number, and the website has been put up on the screen, so hopefully people are getting that. But in this segment, let's talk a little bit more about some of the community needs.
Okay.
Can you address that?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, part of our role as an area agency on aging is to do a community needs assessment. And last year we participated in something called the Community Assessment for Older Adults.
Okay.
Information's on our website. It's a very detailed survey. It's done nationally. It helps sort of benchmark how is Central Indiana as a place to live if you're an older adult compared to other places in the country. And
Really?
it was a survey of people 60 and older, so it includes some of the boomers as well as older adults.
Right.
And so as we look as a local nonprofit and where to try to target our resources to try to address quality of life issues, there are some things that are priorities for us.
Okay.
Transportation can be a real challenge for older adults if they are
Can't
no longer
drive
able to
anymore.
drive.
Yep.
Maybe they don't have the resources to maintain a car. Maybe they just physically can't operate a car any longer. But we're a car society, and
Oh, my.
foot traffic can sometimes be a challenge.
Yeah.
One of the challenges for many people is affordable housing.
Yes.
And so, we work with a lot of folks. Sometimes the most affordable housing option is a way to let somebody continue to safely live in the house they've already bought and paid for.
How so?
Well, if you can do a home modification, maybe if you can install grab bars in the bathroom, or if
yes.
a ramp needs to be built, or a bathroom remodeled, maybe you put a step-in shower instead of the bathtub. Some of
Right.
those kind of things that can help people safely remain in that home.
And that's what you want to do usually.
And so there's qualified contractors that can do the work. There's good advice that can be offered for people. Say, if you're doing that, here's some things to consider. Those are a couple of examples. And also, when we talk about the aging population and some of the challenges for older adults, one of the great challenges when we talk about this segment is that the aging question is largely a question for women.
Because they live longer?
Women outlive men in the population.
Mm-hmm.
Women are more likely to be the family caregiver for the frail parent.
This is true.
They're more likely to be the one that's placed in that role.
Mm-hmm.
Women are more likely to be in poverty in their senior years than men, in part because maybe they didn't work full time throughout their
Right.
work life, so their Social Security payment's a little lower, or they didn't have the pension or the 401k investment
Exactly.
because they were in and out of the workplace more, and they are more likely they do live longer, and so when we talk about aging as an issue, understanding that it's an issue that is, as the demographics are, that it's more an issue for women than it is for men.
I never really thought about it, but I'm sure that's correct. It makes sense.
And how that might affect public policy on issues. We're entering an age where there will be as many older adults as there will be school-age children. By 2030, there'll be as many people 60 and older as there are school-age children in central Indiana. And that's not unique to central Indiana, that's nationally. But a lot of our thoughts about retirement planning and resources in the community are kind of built on this notion that it was a pyramid. You had a small number of older adults and lots of younger people. Well, if there's almost as many older adults as there are working people or young children, does that change our priorities on how we do things in the community? And the other thing that can be a challenge sometimes is that, retirement means something different for a boomer maybe than it did for the previous generation.
Well, very much
and we have 3 generations in retirement today. We have older boomers that have retired.
Right.
We have the greatest generation, people that
The
are maybe in their
silent generation
80s that
before
are
us, yes.
ahead of that, and then we have a number of centenarians that are still with us, that are Depression era and earlier that are still with us. So we have 3 generations in retirement, and the needs of a recently retired 62-year-old are very different than the needs of a 90-year-old.
Right.
Physically, financially,
Expectations
but all of
are different.
our policy and kind of all the rules around those things are all kind of built like they're all the same, as if the 65-year-old and the 90-year-old are just both old, and we know that's
They forgot
not-
about the unique part.
Yeah, they forgot about the unique
Excuse
part.
me, yeah.
And so as we look at programming, as we look at policies, and you're starting to see some of that, people thinking about that. A boomer who says, well, I don't want to fully retire. Maybe I want to continue working, maybe because I need the income, maybe because, I liked my career and I'd like to still keep a hand in it.
Right.
And so those policy kinds of questions that come up. So thinking about the financial questions, the healthcare questions, the fact that it is a conversation that probably affects the women more than the men, and that there's not one typical senior. And how do we develop programs and resources in the community that acknowledge all of that?
Correct. Well, I also, and tell me if you agree with this, that I think baby boomers are kind of redefining retirement, because you've already touched on it. A lot of times, some boomers will never retire because financially they need the money. And the other thing is, working seems to keep us vibrant and young, and we're still thinking and using our mind and doing all that.
Yeah, and and some employers that kind of give people a chance to sort of step into retirement. Maybe they can go from full-time to part-time, or and Social Security does this with people with a disability, that somebody who has maybe been on a disability and wants to reenter the workforce, and there's an opportunity for people to sort of test the water with that,
Right.
and reenter the workforce if they want to. Those are all conversations that have to happen. Those are not all resolved questions.
Right.
But that's why we think it's important that people participate in the conversation. We have opportunities for people to serve on a county council on aging, to be a member of an advisory council, to participate in these community forums when we have them, to talk about the needs and wants and concerns that people have.
Right.
And it's important to participate in those conversations. And what I find when we talk about what makes the community livable or attractive or the amenities that make a community a nice place to live when you're older,
Right.
those are not in conflict with the conversations we have about how do we attract the millennials and how do we attract, highly educated people, and how do we engage there. People want walkable communities. They
Right.
want access to services. They want a vibrant social life in the community. They want to be able to participate in civic affairs and
You are so right on that.
but everybody wants that. So these are not, when you talk about the community being prepared for the senior population, you're not setting somebody apart. A lot of times you're just saying, you know what, we all really want the same thing.
Right. And how do we accomplish that?
And a great example of that, in our community is, the use of the Monon is a great example. The Monon Trail, it's the converted rail trail, and it's an easy grade. You can ride your bike, you can walk, and you look at who uses the Monon. Go up to the Carmel Center and kind of see who's up and down that path. It's people of all ages.
Yes, it is.
And that's not specifically a senior-friendly place,
Right.
but it is senior-friendly because the same thing that makes it a great place to teach your 4-year-old how to ride a bike or to go for the walk is something that also makes it a good place for the senior walking club to go, get some exercise too, and the amenities that have grown up around the trail. And so that's a good example of intergenerational activity, of something that's accommodating to everybody. And you don't look at that and go, yeah, that's a senior thing. So no, that's a great community resource. And that's part of that planning conversation too, that we don't need to wall people off into different places.
Yeah, let's don't put them in a box, and all the seniors have to stay on that trail, and all the young people can stay there.
Over
Mix
there.
them up, bring them all together.
Very good.
So, we are out of time again. Is this gone really quickly for you, as it has
It
for
has.
me?
It has. I appreciate
And
the invitation.
You're more than welcome, and we didn't hardly get to touch on a lot of things, but maybe you'll have to come back another time.
Would love to.
And do it again,
And
so.
encourage people that if they want more information about senior services in central Indiana, a great place to
Yes.
start is www.cicoa.org. That's our website, and it's a great place to get to know us.
Exactly. And also, you guys have a little booklet, which I think is really nice. It's called Solutions Guide. Got a lot of answers in this little baby that tell people a lot of things. Also, we got to go back to the Boomer with Patty Spittler. If you would like to get a digital version, go to indieboomer.com. Pick one up there, or we've got them in various places in Hamilton, Marion, and Boone counties. Thanks so much. Catch you all next time we have the Indie Boomer Show.